What's up, guys? Daniel Gray with Studio 44 and our show Underdogs. I'm super excited to introduce you to Fabien Hronec today. Okay, he is the owner of Reboot Self Care Center. And even though we're going to talk about the business in a little bit, I want you guys to have a chance to get to know him, who he is at his core. So, Fabien, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Daniel. Pleasure to be on it.
Well, we're glad you're here. We start out every show a little bit differently, but I want to talk a little bit about the beginning, and I literally mean the beginning. Tell us your name and where you were born.
Well, the beginning is my mom and my dad.
Gotcha. Okay.
Got it.
Fast forward just past that part. Let's go about 9 months down the road.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. So, my mom and dad are in LA, and my mom decided, as she got pregnant, that she was going to have me in Switzerland. That's where she's from. So she flew to Switzerland and had me there. So that's where I was technically born.
Born in
I was born
Switzerland.
in Switzerland. Yep.
Okay.
So that's awesome, especially now because I have that dual citizenship. We were there for 6 months, which is how long you had to wait before you could fly. And then we flew back to LA, where I grew up for the first 8 years.
Very, very cool. I like the idea that you have dual citizenship. I think that's pretty baller because, you know more than one language then.
Yeah. So a little bit later in my life, we went back to Switzerland, and I spent 3 years there and had the experience to be able to learn Swiss dialect, which is, it's kind of like if you're in the deep area of Louisiana and you're from California, you may not understand everything that they're saying. So it's kind of like a slang.
Oh, okay.
So Swiss dialect is like a type of slang in Europe for where a German person would understand me, but I might not understand them.
Gotcha.
It's like a dialect.
So it's a dialect of German then?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm pretty sure, yes.
Listen, allegedly. If we're wrong, then so be it. That's all right. We're human. So what age did you go back? You said you spent 3 years there.
I was 8 years old. So when my parents split, that's when we went to Switzerland, me and my mom.
Uh-huh.
And I spent 3 years there before we went back to San Diego. But in those 3 years, it was kind of like thrown into, I didn't speak any of the language yet.
Okay.
So I just went right into school. Mom put me into school, and I'm sitting in class. Everything's in German. The books are in German, and I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. But what was cool is every day they would pull me out. It was like a tutor. Pull me out and teach me, because they spoke English, what we were learning, and just help break the barrier, right?
Wow.
And because of that, and because of being thrown in, and probably my age too, because you're just absorbing, it took me 6 months, and then I was fluent. Like every day I would walk to school, go to the gas station, get these little candies, and without speaking Swiss, and learning slowly like what I had to say to get it, And then eventually I remember just going to the store and I was talking with them, and
so to me, cool. That's amazing. I mean, you go there and especially in such a short period of time to be speaking the language and being able to communicate. What candies were these? Like, I like candy, but like me and my daughter shop for candies around the world to like taste test different places.
I'll tell you the most unique one.
Okay.
I don't even know if this is true, but they told me that it's paper that has been candied and you ate it. Like I would basically buy these sheets of candied paper, it seemed like.
Okay.
And I would eat that, and it tasted like whatever flavor you buy.
Wow. So either that is really true or you got bullied. So
the gas station guy's fault, damn it.
It's the gas station guy.
He's like, oh, this American.
The Swiss gas station guy.
No, but legitimately it was the little like cherry gummy bear things. It has the cherry with the stem.
Yes.
It was those and the little Coca-Cola ones.
The little bottle. Oh, yeah.
That was like my go-to, man.
Yeah. How do you go wrong with a little bottle Coke?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bottle Coca-Cola.
Yeah,
Sorry,
let's
there we go.
clarify. Mhm.
Clarify that for
8 years old.
clarify that for the viewers. 8 to 11. Okay, 8 to 11, not 21 to 31. Okay.
Another interesting fact: I would sled to school
What?
during the winter. I can't even make that up, dude.
On a toboggan? Like, what do you mean you sled to school?
I actually had a sled that had a steering wheel, and so it had the two little sleds like underneath like this.
Yeah, yeah.
And my steering wheel would actually turn them.
Okay.
And I had a brake in the middle, pull-up brake, which had two things that went in the ground. Right.
This is that time frame, 8 to
Like
11?
a go-kart body.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was all plastic. So I would drag this thing up the hills because it was at least a mile, if not more.
Of
to
course.
get to school.
In the snow.
Of course, right?
It has to be.
It's not just our grandparents. that
No,
did
no,
this.
no.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I did this too. But then whenever there was a hill, I would sled down the hill and park the thing in the school, just like your bike, and
Did
get
you
back
have to
home.
chain up your what did you call it?
Sled.
You call okay?
Sled.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. Different
Uh,
countries have different names.
I can't even think of what a Swiss word I would have used for the sled, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a sled.
Like you 8 to 11, you're driving to school.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Like now, when you walked up the hill, was there a downhill on the other side, or did you sled back down the same hill? Because this is messing me up visually.
Well, first of all, we weren't like in the Swiss Alps, so
Okay.
there were like up and downs, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's
Usually
smaller
where there's an
hills.
up, there's
Yeah.
a down, right?
I was assuming so. I just didn't know which side the school was on because I'm
So-
like, if he walked his sled all the way to the top of this hill just to slide back down so he rolled into school, I mean, that's kind of a flex back in the day
It's pretty baller, I would say.
to
yeah.
just say, I drive.
And
That's
at
what
the
I do.
very end of the hill to hit the brake and turn and just
Of course.
slide in.
Yeah, you have to slide it in.
Yep.
If you did not do a little slide in and and hit the e-brake, I don't know if you actually sled.
And I really hope I was not the only kid with a sled
Yeah.
because I'm not
Oh,
sure.
you don't want
right
to be
now.
that guy, right?
I'm not sure. But
Tell me you weren't the rich
I-
American,
no, definitely wasn't the rich American.
dual citizen Swiss, pulling up in your roll sled. Okay. We're going to have to figure this out.
Just reminded me that the sled had a siren on the front
Of course it did.
that you could hit and the light would go like this.
Yeah. Yeah, you had to pull people over. You were that kid.
Jesus.
Yeah.
This is a memory that's coming back now.
Yeah. And
Man.
I think it's interesting. There's so many of those little pieces of us.
Yeah.
They just get tucked away. That's awesome.
It
So
was a unique experience. That was
yeah,
the whole point
nah,
of that.
you're talking to a boy that's from here.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? Like I'm from Florida, Ocala. Like
Okay.
there's 2 hills here, and they don't have snow. We don't have sleds, but we did. We would actually slide on cardboard down the hill.
Yeah,
Like we
okay.
grab a thick piece of cardboard, boom. That is our American born in the woods version of sledding.
Like on wet grass or what?
Not wet grass. Well, you could do it on wet grass, but your box will tear up pretty quick.
Good point.
So like just thicker grass
Okay.
and a good piece of cardboard and some bumps and bruises and childhood.
Are we talking like a fridge box or?
If you were lucky, I mean that's the duplex of.
Oh, yeah, that's-
I mean that's a big one. I mean we were tiny kids. I was like, I don't know, like 85, 90 pounds for like the longest time. But you find you a good, dish pack style box and fold up that front like you're actually on a toboggan.
Yeah.
We just had to use a lot more imagination here in Florida.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad now.
Yeah, no, that's all right. That's all right. We had sirens too. They were just behind us instead of in front of us.
Well
but
said.
but so 8 to 11 there, and then what happens there? Where did you say you came back to San Diego?
Yeah, so then I'm not sure where the idea came from, but my mom said we're going back to San Diego. So we moved to San Diego, actually stayed with an uncle of mine for, I think it was 2 or 3 years. And then, no, I'm sorry, that was about a year. And then we moved into our own place in San Diego. And from there is when we ended up going to Australia.
It's just randomly to Australia.
Yeah, as people do.
Yeah, yes.
We-
Normal people with sirens on their sleds go to Australia.
And the
Yeah.
interesting part about all this is because you would think, oh, are you military or was there like money there?
Yeah.
It's a single mom doing this. So she literally pulled me from those places, and I don't know how she managed it,
Yeah.
but she
That's
did. And those experiences were difficult too, not just great, right? Because you're moving your whole life to another place, you know nobody, and you don't have anything except what you can pack and bring over there. So it was humbling in a way too, but it did allow me to have a respect for different cultures and different people. And
I mean, yeah, you think about it in the first, 15 or so years of your life, like you've literally already went to Switzerland. You've
yeah,
learned, you're understanding German but not speaking German. At the same time, Australia, like, was there family there? Do you know why she chose Australia?
family.
Family.
Yeah, so it was an aunt, her sister. They all moved out there from Switzerland, and I think it was to be like in a more controlled climate. And Australia was, at the time, it was a little easier to get into, where it was still like it's still kind of European because the UK, like well, at the time at least, the Queen still kind of ruled. So it was still European in a way. So it wasn't a huge difference from Europe. And I think that's how they decided to go there because they retired there, like my aunt retired there. And then her sister went and kind of they built their lives there. So that's how we got pulled over to Australia.
And how was school different there than it was in Switzerland and different than in the U.S.?
So different than the U.S., the big thing is it wasn't cliquish. So it was more you as a person. So for me, it was a little easier because I'm from America, and I guess that was exciting for them because over there, like music videos and movies and things were like a pretty big deal. To give you an example, California has more people than Australia, population wise,
I didn't even know that.
or at least it's close.
I
Right?
knew that there was more kangaroo than people
Where
in Australia.
that is correct.
I just learned that.
Oh, I don't know that actually.
No, I
thought
just
you were
learned it. I went to the no. That you would think that was a joke. I went to the Cincinnati Zoo, and they told me that there's more kangaroo than there are people.
Holy cow. Okay.
That's why, like, we look at kangaroo here and we think like, oh, they're probably an endangered species, and that's why
No.
we not even
I
close.
can confirm that for sure. No.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Like
confirmed now.
wallabies, which are a smaller kangaroo, they're like deer here. They just run through neighborhoods and people's yards, and it's
Wow.
like a normal thing, you know?
Wow.
But
All
yeah,
right. So jumping back into school.
so
Yes.
population's
Yeah.
much smaller than the U.S., right? So for them, I think that's a big part of what drew is our media and our celebrity in the U.S. So when I went over there, it was like me with the accent. I was the guy with the accent.
Oh,
So
nice.
that helped a lot.
A Swiss/California
No, there was no
accent.
Swiss accent. It was literally
It was
just
no Swi-
California.
Straight California.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
still have kind of the California
I'm just trying to hear it because I
slang
hear
and accent.
I hear a little bit of California in
I
you
know I've
every
been
now
here
and again.
15 years, so I think I'm starting to say things like y'all.
I've heard you say y'all.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome. You've made it. But I hear California every now and again come through,
Mhm.
and I'm just like I didn't know where you were from, you know.
Okay.
So I was like I'm glad to hear this journey.
So it's not cliquish, which was cool because it allowed me to be me and not try to stay in I was a basketball player in San Diego, so I hung out with the basketball guys, you know,
Oh.
and that's the crew I would go to the park and play every day with. And whoever was in that crew, you kind of molded to them. But in Australia, it was like we had the athletes and the academics, and people who just did nothing. Like we all
Yeah.
hung out together, and there was no what you do as a status. And that's where I found who I am, and it was very cool. And I think it was meant to be. I think everything that we do, at least in my life, that happens and I do, is meant to be.
Absolutely.
So I try to embrace it that way, right?
Yeah.
But that's where I met some of my best friends. Still to this day, are the guys that I met in Australia.
Wow.
Yeah, they're different kind of person, and maybe it's the culture as well. You know, it's a very social culture. So when I was there, it was a lot. That's where I learned how to drink.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Hey. I mean, you got to learn somewhere.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And that's part of what actually drove me back to San Diego. So I moved back on my own. Was finished high school. Had a college I could get into there, but I was just working to party. That's it. I was stuck for almost a year just working to party because it was such a fun atmosphere, and I was like, I have to do something. I just had this urge to do something
Yeah.
and get into something that's I'm working towards. And I have an uncle in in San Diego, and called him up, and he agreed to like have me move in with him in the beginning to get started. And so I had like $1,500, and I just went and started working wherever I could work in San Diego, and lived with him for about, I would say, almost a year, and then moved out and went and I did the whole living in different apartments, renting rooms out of houses for a solid 2 years before I came out to Ocala, Florida.
Wow. So you went from San Diego
Mm-hmm.
to Ocala.
Yes.
What in the world? Now, I've lived here my whole life, and I get it. I've lived in Minneapolis for a year, lived in Missouri for a year, but I've lived here my whole life.
Right.
Now, we're growing, finally.
Mm-hmm.
But give me an idea of time frame. How long have you been in Ocala, and what in the world made you choose Ocala out of everywhere that you could have went? Because you went to Switzerland, you went to Australia, LA, San Diego. Like, what in the world?
It's 15 years ago now, and it was actually my dad. So when my parents split, my dad, he's in the racehorse world. So my whole life growing up, I was at Santa Anita Racetrack or Del Mar Racetrack, and as a little kid walking through the horse stalls and everything. So racehorses has been his whole life. So he actually made his way to Florida and became the general manager for Winding Oaks Farm, and he's been there ever since. This is like 18 years ago or more. And he actually called me and said, hey, if you want to move out to Florida, I'd love to spend more time with you. And so we could build a relationship.
Wow.
And there's the 2 weeks again. Literally 2 weeks later, I packed everything up in a little U-Haul trailer with my Chevy Malibu 6-cylinder car. Two of my best friends came with me for the ride, and we drove from San Diego to Ocala, Florida.
That's
straight.
Awesome.
It was like 2.5, 3 days.
That is a long drive.
And that car was a disaster, man.
Yeah.
Plus, with a 6-cylinder pulling a trailer, like I had to get gas every like 200 miles.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not...
There are some places in Texas.
It's not really your Tesla, you know what I'm saying?
Want to stop to get gas.
Of course. I've been through Texas.
Have you?
It takes a day to get through Texas, it feels like.
I remember this place in Texas. We pulled over. We get out, like we're going stir crazy, so we're throwing the football and stuff. We go into the store, and I have no clue where we're at. And these guys are just hanging out in there, and they have like their affliction shirts on and everything. And literally as we're going out, the guy, I can't even make this up, asked me, do you guys cage fight?
Oh.
And I was like, nope. And like, well, if you want to, we have a place not far from here where we do cage fights, like UFC style cage fights. And I was like, no, we're good, thank you.
I hope you kept driving. Okay, I was about to say,
got out of there.
Gas up and go, because that guy's trying to sell you. Okay, he's selling you, not your. Okay,
you wouldn't be talking to me right now.
Yeah, no, I'd be like, he didn't make it. It was
that blew my mind.
Random cage fight.
But it was a cool experience. That's where, with the last gas station we stopped before we got here, the gas station attendant, which you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, he said, I'm like, where can we get something to eat? Because it's super early in the morning, like 3 a.m. And he's like, well, you can go across the street and get breakfast. And I was like, okay, what kind of place is this? You can probably guess what it was.
Aunt Fanny's.
No, Cafe Risque.
Oh, my Lord. Okay. I thought you were talking about like right down the street.
No,
oh, my
needless
Lord.
To say,
oh, yeah, you can go get breakfast at Cafe. Yeah.
We didn't, but...
Someone said they had good pancakes.
That's the first time I learned about that place. And I was like, and we were mind blown because we're like, what? I've never heard of eating breakfast in a place like that.
You learned real quick.
Yeah,
real quick. What's interesting already is the fact that most people say LA or bust, and they're going that way. Yeah. So opposite trajectory. Glad you're here, though. You know what I mean? Like, glad you made it safe.
It was totally worth it. You know, you make home wherever you make home.
Yeah.
So like Ocala for me was phenomenal because once I found out what I wanted to do, it's such a word of mouth city
Yes.
that it was actually comfortable to build a business up in because what I did was unique. What I do is unique, and the word of mouth really helped grow it. And I don't know if I could have done that in San Diego the same way because there's so much density and competition out there. So, and this is where I met my wife. There's a lot of things that happen for a reason here, and
That's really good because when you talk about Ocala being that place that had that potential,
Mhm.
I look at living in Ocala as being locally based, globally minded. Like there's nothing. We have lower crime rates. You don't hear about craziness all the time. You know what I mean? Like our worst day in Ocala is like there was an accident on 200 and traffic's backed up.
Yeah, everyone's pissed about
They're mad about traffic.
Yeah.
It's so trivial compared to what the world
Yeah.
deals with on a daily basis.
And it is nice not to have to drive to get 5 miles, like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that's the only way I can get where I'm going for 5 miles is a freeway that takes 2 hours.
Yeah.
In, you know,
Gridlock
rush
traffic.
hour.
If anybody complains about traffic on 200, I want them to go out to LA
Yes.
and hit the 1 or the 5 at the wrong time.
Yes.
Like,
And
just
I would
let that
also
happen.
like individuals from here to do a 12-lane highway
Yeah.
and experience that because that is some shocking stuff when you're not used to it.
They'll think it's a racetrack here. We'll literally just, we'll be lining up for a drag race. You won't know which way to go.
I did do the Autobahn in Germany.
Oh,
a few
come
times.
on.
Yep.
Of course.
I was only a passenger, unfortunately,
Yeah.
but I remember it scaring the shit out of me.
Of course.
Yeah.
I was in a tour bus. When I told you I went to Switzerland when I was 15, I was in a tour bus. So on the Autobahn, I'm getting past like we're sitting still. Like it was actually, we're in a massive vehicle.
Yeah.
And you still feel like you're about to get slammed into. Like those people drive so fast.
Yes.
But they say there's less wrecks on the Autobahn than I-75. They're just more fatal.
Yeah. I would agree. If I'm going to go 140 miles an hour, I'm not going to be on my phone. I'm going to be doing anything except
super concentrated.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only part that I love going fast. You know that.
I know.
But the thing that has always scared me about that is you're putting others' lives at risk, not just your own.
I agree.
Because you slam into somebody at 140 and bad things happen.
Definitely.
So tell me a little bit about your hobbies and passions outside of work. Like, what's that look like? What are you into these days?
So one of the more recent things would be pickleball. I would say like 4 months ago now, somebody introduced it to me, and I have to lock that down. But me and my business partner, Dr. Thomas Biget, we were looking for something to go do because he's a big ping pong person.
Oh, okay.
And it was just getting annoying playing ping pong because he's so good at it.
Yes.
So we heard about pickleball, and when we went out, it was like immediate. I'm like, this is freaking awesome. I had like the $35 paddle, which was miserable. And once you have like the $100, $200 paddle, you're like, this is garbage.
So that's the upgrade I have to make. I've only played pickleball twice now, and I'm fully addicted.
Yep.
Like they've got me. I'm
Nice.
a buyer. I have I wish there was a $35 paddle because when you start something new, you want the nice stuff, but you also don't want to waste it if you don't like it because then it's just, I don't like wasting anyways. So I bought like the $70 paddle out of Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yep.
It's decent. I can tell that there's better paddles out there. And when I see these guys with their carbon fiber paddle and it has grit and I'm like, oh, that's why he's spinning the ball. That's why he's doing that. I'm with you. Fully addicted to pickleball.
You'll be fine until somebody gives you a racket that is like $100, $200 racket.
Yeah.
Like my buddy Jason did. He gave me a racket called the Golden Axe.
Of course it is.
And then after that, I was like, I can't play with anything else.
Yeah.
So I had to like find something comparable,
Yeah.
and it makes a huge difference. But it's the speed, it's the concentration. Like it takes you out of anything else because you have to be in. And then it's the fact that it's 2-on-2 is a cool camaraderie type thing. A
Yeah.
sport you can go. So for a little bit there, we had our whole staff going and just playing, and we would just do the 2-on-2. And now more recently, we just and we work in with the other players. And what's cool is you've been twice, but as soon
Yes.
as you've been for a few months, is you'll see them look for you, and they're like, because there is like the good player courts, and then
I know
there's,
where
like,
those courts are.
Then there's those who just don't know what they're doing.
Court 1 through 4, I don't even go down there. I go straight down to 6 through 10. I just know it.
You
Yeah.
work your way up, and they'll actually call you in, kind of like a pickup basketball game.
Yes.
You know, they're like, oh yeah, there's so and so. Like, hey, what's up, man? You want to come play?
Yeah.
Or the one you'll be sitting there, and they know that you're like, eh.
Yeah.
And they kind of look at you like, did you want to play? Are you waiting there to play?
You sure you want to play? You sure you want to? I've loved the fact, like, a lot of times who you came with is not who you finish with.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like, it is a very welcoming sport, though.
It is.
And that's different. Like, you don't just, like, I've went to go play soccer, right? Or I've went to go play like touch football, and you get that, like, well, you guys were almost cage fighters in Texas. If I was like last for dodgeball, that's how that feels in other sports. In pickleball, for some reason, that's not that same feeling.
No.
Like, people, they want you to come play.
Agreed.
And now I've got a couple friends that I know they play tennis. Like, I ended tennis at like a 3-5 level, middle of the road. I didn't want to put in the extra time to get my serve up, to get, but regardless, switched to racquetball, then pickleball, and now pickleball. I don't even want to play anything else.
Yeah.
So
when you go by yourself, what's cool is you do rotate in. Like you said, they are very welcoming, and they'll even call you over if you're a little intimidated to go and just jump in on a game.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, at our office, we drew out a pickleball court and we got the portable net, and man, you can do that really anywhere that you have a flat surface that's big enough.
That's right. What are some of the things about sports? Because I know with Reboot, who are you helping the most when it comes to, like, athletes and sports? What are you noticing there?
The biggest thing I notice is any sport that involves endurance and stamina, we have a huge result with. And what's cool is the science is behind it. If you ever watch these documentaries with, like, Lance Armstrong and even professional athletes, and you see them, like, running on a treadmill and they're breathing with a tube.
Yes.
That tube that they're breathing from is exercise with oxygen training. So they're getting concentrated oxygen while they're running. So why doesn't everybody have access to this? That was the whole point when I started this. And so that's what we have in our facility. I even bring it to CrossFit competitions for the athletes to utilize before they get started with the day. And the feedback is the recovery is super fast after those WODs. So they feel great after, instead of zombieing out for like 30 minutes or an hour. So the endurance, because you're getting concentrated oxygen into their body, that their body has now more reserve to do the activity it needs to do. And I feel like there's something going on, I don't know if it's more recent, but with our youth athletes, where I don't feel like I had this problem when I was in high school, where they are more fatigued, or they're having more issues with breathing or stamina, which, like, if you remember when you were, because we're around the same age, like, I would go play basketball for 8 hours a day and maybe 8 something, and I was fine, no problem. But I'm getting athletes that are fatigued and they're just really tired after games, or they're not even getting through the games, and they're like 15 to 18 years old, So the biggest thing I would say is youth athletes and anybody that's active doing marathons, Spartan races. If you talk about pickleball and that, it's more about helping their joints and their body keep up with the kind of aggressive movements that are done, right? Because there are aggressive
like short bursts. Yeah.
Short bursts, exactly. which if they're not very mobile, if you're not mobile, it's hard on the body to do short bursts.
Yeah.
So that's where we can help to help the body recover faster.
I think it's interesting what you talked about with the youth. I remember playing for hours upon hours. Like you didn't stay inside playing video games all day. Like you
All night, yeah, not all day.
Like it's just during the day. We got locked out. Like they would shut the door and they'd be like, "You're playing outside.
Nice.
Go play." And it kept us physical, and we would go play hours and hours and hours,
Yeah.
and then come back. But I have a small theory with what's going on with youth is I think they're over caffeinated. And a lot of times when you have caffeine too soon, like you're not letting your body wake up, I feel that even as adults, we rely so much on that cup of coffee or that energy drink right out of the gate before our body's even acclimated to doing its natural process of getting us active. And I see more and more with younger kids that they have, and I'm not going to say the names, but they have tons of energy drinks promoting to them when you shouldn't need that at 15. I didn't need no dang energy drink. I needed to be told, go play outside.
Agreed.
So
I think that you are correct in that sense because I don't remember energy drinks as much. Like there are some that were popular at that time, but I didn't use them to get energy. I would drink them because it was fun because I would get all jacked up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It would just.
That's why I drank those.
Yeah.
Like, and then play video games at night or something, you know?
Yeah. That was if you were pulling an all-nighter.
Yeah.
Not if you were going to play basketball.
No, because my heart would explode.
Like one game? You know, one game of basketball and you can't make it through the whole thing?
Exactly.
Now, soccer's a different animal.
Yes.
Football for our people in Australia that are watching.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying? But soccer, like I watched the entire World Cup, and these guys are running nonstop.
Yep.
I don't even know how that's humanly possible. And I've been an athlete the majority of my life, not so much now as much as I want to be. But back in the day, like, I mean, it was no big deal. We'll run 13, 14, 15 miles and just keep it going. These guys are running 90 minutes straight. Some of them have been in the game the entire game.
So here is part of my theory, Dan. It's the toxic overload that kids now are exposed to versus when we were kids. I feel like there are more toxins, there's more stress, and the food that we are getting, because it's accessible everywhere, is just not as healthy as it used to be. So I think this is playing an effect in it too, because the toxic overload is what is allowing the body to not have as much energy because it's so focused on eliminating and detoxing and just focused on trying to, like, what the heck is going in my body? And I think that's part of the problem.
I think that we're going to learn a lot more as the years go by.
Yeah.
You know, food itself has been. That's what I love about being downtown, by the way, is you just see people that you know and people that encourage you and support you. And we wave. Isn't that cool? Like, have you been to places that they don't wave? Have you ever? And I hate to talk about up north, but have you ever? I lived in Minneapolis for a year. The first time I held a door open for a group of ladies, they thought I was crazy.
Like they were shocked.
And I'm like, that's just manners. Like, I'm Southern gentleman. I said yes, ma'am. And they were like, oh. And like I was getting mad at me, and I'm like, I'm so confused. Like my daddy would have whooped me if I didn't say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, and hold the door. Don't spit in front of a woman. Don't, like, there's like this list of things that we weren't supposed to do, right?
I had to get used to that too when I moved here, because on the West Coast, you don't have as much sir and ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Boss, things like that. I would never hear those words. So I accept it more now, but I felt like it was giving me a superiority over them, which that's what I didn't like about it. You know, it wasn't that I didn't like being called sir. I just felt like I'm just you. I'm the same as you.
Yeah.
But I realize that that is kind of part of the culture here,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I say yes, sir, and yes, ma'am to like 8 and 9 year old little kids just out of respect. And I just out of respect. And I'm thinking, you know what? If I respect that child, they'll respect me.
Right.
Like if I'll say yes, ma'am, and yes, sir to them,
Mm-hmm.
and like,
Yeah,
it's
I
just
get it.
equal. Yeah.
I get it.
So what is a book or movie that has impacted you?
Okay, a book would be one of Richard Branson's biographies, autobiographies. I believe it was. It was can't remember the name of it, but that was one of the first books I read fully through, which it was like 500 pages or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
But it impacted me because he's a fascinating person, of course, but when you hear about his life and how he's built things up and the way his mind's worked, it was very motivating for me. And so that one put an impact on me because I felt like that's how I wanted to be. And like that was my drive, is a similar drive that he had when he got started. So that was probably the most influential book that still this day really read.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what is something that you've always wanted to do but haven't done yet?
Scuba dive.
Scuba dive.
Scuba dive. I have such a want to scuba dive, and I don't know why I haven't taken the time to do it,
Yeah.
but I feel like that's my element. If I can I think most people that know me pretty well will know that, like, oh yeah, that would make sense, because I'm a very like calm person. There's not a lot that gets me real like active and excited. Like,
Okay. Gotcha.
even though I could be super excited about something, but this is how I'm talking when I'm excited
Nice.
about it. You know?
Just super chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just being underwater and the weightlessness and the calmness of it, I feel like that would be something I would love to do, and then be able to see places that are, well known for scuba diving. I lived in Australia for 3 years, and I never went to the Great Barrier Reef, which is crazy.
Yeah. And
But-
to dive the reef.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm with you. So, fun fact: I am a licensed scuba diver. Like I've got that
Nice.
under my belt, and I can attest it is absolutely out of this world. Like there's things that you see. I want to encourage you to do that. Like, but put a goal out there. Put that time frame that says I am going to do this. I am going to achieve that, because if that's a want that you really desire, I'm telling you, it is worth it.
Okay.
And then finding people that you relate with that would go diving, because not everybody's certified.
No.
Not everybody can handle what that feels like and what they have to train and prepare for.
Right. And I've been offered to go, and I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. But they're like, hey, we'll just put a tank on you, you go off the boat. And
Don't do that.
it's like, damn,
Please,
I feel like
God.
there's more to it, but
There's so much more. Don't ever do
I
that.
won't. I'm gonna go
Okay.
for classes. I
Go to the
promise.
classes. There's
Yeah.
places in town. Oh my God, get certified.
All right. Well, I'm gonna
Yeah.
hit you up, because
Yeah.
when I'm ready to go and maybe I'm licensed, we can.
Yeah, let me know when you're
Figure
3 weeks
something
out.
out.
I'll go take a refresher as well. Like you dive at the pool at CF.
Okay.
So if you do a checkout dive, is usually West Palm. I'm down. I'll do it again.
I love West Palm.
Yeah, it's nice. So, what is a personal philosophy or mantra that you live by?
A big one is everything happens for a reason. I do believe that, bad things happen in your life, but if you can look at those bad things and try to find where there is a positivity or a learning experience or a way to, okay, there's a reason this happened, and you do believe that everything happens for a reason, it makes it easier to overcome. And I think I got that philosophy because of those huge moves that I did in my life. And I'm an only child, so it's like I didn't have anybody to lean on, so I just had to figure it out. So for me, one thing is just get over it. And I actually have a tattoo on my back, which is a word that me and my best friend created when I was a kid. It's two surfer terms. It's chill and lope, which lope is a surfer term for like kind of like that's a cool wave, right?
Oh, okay.
So put those two together, it's chope.
Chope.
Chope is the word I made up, and that is like that's what I live by, which it just means get over it.
Get over it.
Yeah.
Chope.
Like what am I gonna do other than just get over it when something bad happens?
That's good. Not always the easiest thing to do, right?
Not at all.
But reminding yourself that there's a better outcome. There's more.
You know, every time that you have something traumatic or a stress, it affects your body. You know, it affects your gut, which affects your whole body. And I think there's a lot that needs to still be taught and learned in that area because we go through a lot of stress every day. As a society in America, we have scans that have been done in Australia, Thailand, that my mentor, Dr. Bijay's done. He's in our clinic now, and thousands of them. And there's a difference between Bangkok, Europe, Australia, and America. And now, because he's been in America almost a year and a half now, I'm starting to learn what the differences are here versus Australia. And the biggest thing is the stress, like the amount of stress we put ourselves under here to succeed and do business and live life is way more than in other countries, apparently, just from the data on its own. So, you know, we have to be able to overcome, you know, things that happen that maybe aren't for the best or traumatic, because otherwise that will affect your health.
That's good.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, you don't know what you don't know. Like when it comes to how other populations react or what their expectations are.
Right.
But I agree. There is a lot of stress here. Everybody wants that American dream. And I wish more people would understand that life is way more about experiences than any of those things, any of those monetary achievements or whatever.
Living in all those countries, still this day, my choice is to be in America. And the convenience of where you can get anything anywhere almost, and being able to build a business the way we can here is you can't do that in other countries as easily, in my experience, right?
Wow.
So I still choose the U.S. over any other country because of, for me, it was the best environment, I should
Gotcha.
say. Yeah.
Well, it definitely good to hear. You know, I've visited other places, and it's always made me appreciate our freedoms and the things that we have here.
Absolutely. Especially in Florida.
Oh my gosh, yeah, like Florida's as free as it gets.
Yeah, no kidding.
But there's a lot of countries and a lot of places that deal with so much oppression and so much that against them. I can see where, like, if you just said get over it, they're like, for what? Yeah. You know, they would be like, what am I get over it, but what's next?
Yeah. Or it's easy for you to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
I understand.
It's understandable, but at the same time, it's not always easy. Even for someone that has all those resources, it's not always easy because emotionally you got to pull yourself out of that. You got to tell yourself, get over it.
Agreed.
Chope lifestyle. I like that.
Yeah.
So we're going to do kind of a...
you better not brand that, by the way. That's mine.
No. Chope is you. Chope is you. I got it. I'll help you brand it.
It's on my license plate even.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love learning new things. So we're gonna do like a lightning round of your favorites. Okay.
Let's do it.
So I'm gonna say the favorite thing. You're gonna tell me in one or two words what that favorite item is, or person, place, whatever. But once we do that lightning round, then I wanna touch on Reboot a little bit and really dive in and find out what you guys are up to. I know you just moved to a new space, all that good stuff. So I want to hear that. But with our lightning round, what is your favorite movie?
Braveheart.
Favorite? I love that movie. You got me right out the gate. Frida. Okay. Favorite color?
Blue.
Blue. What shade?
This shade right here on my shirt. So I would say actually there's a shockwave blue.
Okay.
Which there's you'll see cars that are shockwave blue, but it's kind of like a dark, rich blue.
Okay. Favorite car?
Actually, real quick, your EMM,
Yes.
that is pretty much the blue to verbatim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So it's in a mix between turquoise and baby blue.
Yeah.
Right in between there. Yeah. Absolute favorite color, by the way, as well.
Nice.
Favorite car?
Oh, man. Why is that so difficult?
Because it's supposed to be.
I'm going through all these cars. When I was a kid, my favorite car was always the Dodge Viper.
Yeah.
Now that I've driven one, it's not.
Yeah.
I would think I'd love to do an older muscle car. Like I have a Challenger now, but I want like the original version of it.
Original Challenger.
I think that would be is like a original muscle car would be my favorite.
That's raw power right there. Yeah. Okay. Favorite truck?
I think right now the Raptor overall look and everything would probably be my favorite.
Yeah. I like that.
Ford Raptor.
The V6 twin turbo. Like
there's different ones.
There's different. Well, there's different engine packages, but the Raptor itself, great truck. Okay. Great truck. Favorite place in this world? If you could be anywhere, where would it be?
That's a hard one.
I know.
Daniel, I've got two. So
I have two favorites. You're just as good as each other.
What are the two? Okay, one is San Diego.
Uh-huh.
And the other one is Saas-Fee, Switzerland.
Saas-Fee, Switzerland.
Yes. You have to take an electric vehicle to get to the Saas-Fee. You're not allowed to have any gas vehicles beyond a certain point on the mountain.
Wow. Okay. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool things there, but basically it's still self-sustained. So the bread, the eggs, the milk, the everything you're getting, it's known for being a tourist attraction. So it's the Swiss Alps. So you have chalets that you can go and stay at, which are off the chart. And it's all in a mountain. So you're just surrounded by mountains. And you can just go up 8,000 feet, have a beer at a restaurant up there, and then ski down.
You could try to ski because at elevation, that alcohol hits you a lot faster.
Oh, yeah.
So.
And by the way, their blues are double diamonds for sure.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, well, I'll be on the greens then. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be on, give me the bunny slope. I like to snow bike, by the way.
Oh, I haven't done
Have you done it?
Nope.
Absolutely must. It is as good as it gets. Like I'll do that for the rest of my life.
I'm going to give it a shot.
Favorite childhood toy? Let's go decades.
Okay, well, Ninja Turtles as a kid was my favorite.
Yes.
Show and toy.
Okay.
I think I still have them somewhere.
That's interesting because I'm a vintage toy collector, so that's amazing that you'd still have
They're
those.
not in the cases, but I have
No.
them for sure. I have.
They need to be played with.
I have all my Matchbox cars still, my baseball cards, my Pogs.
You still have Pogs.
And I have Legos. Okay.
Yes.
Forget the Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
Legos was my favorite toy growing up, and I still have them all.
Gotcha. Why don't you look to the right of your desk? Look what I got right there.
Ooh, Legos.
Literally
is this gonna be a podcast of a Lego build?
It is. If you want to come build some Legos with me,
dude, I would love to build Legos.
You are more than welcome. If you notice along the ridge over there, we've got James Bond's.
Very nice.
His Aston. We've got the Lamborghini Countach. Just put together the Toyota Supra yesterday, and then
nice.
we have some F1 cars. But this space shuttle will be the biggest build that I've ever done, and I'm going to do it all on camera. So if you're down to come, that would be awesome. It's over 2,000 pieces.
Holy crap!
Yeah, it's a lot.
Okay.
So
I'm down.
So I'm with you. A Lego for a lifetime.
Yeah.
And I just watched the documentary. You see it on Netflix, The Toys That Made Us.
Yes. Yep.
They have a Lego episode, and it's everything that you...
I got a fun fact.
Yeah.
Daniel.
What's that?
So in San Diego, when Legoland originally opened, I was there as one of the kids that they broke ground with for Legoland.
Yeah?
They took a however many ton dump truck, filled it with Legos, and on the news dumped the Legos out. We all had hard hats on,
Yes.
and we were scooping Legos into wheelbarrows and bringing them over to an area, and we were building Legos, and it was all over the news and everything.
Yes.
So I was there when they opened Legoland, which
That-
is an amazing thing to see if you like Legos.
That is awesome. I've been to Legoland.
Okay.
Like I think I had a child to go to Legoland. I love her to death, but we went to Legoland. Favorite video game? Sorry, let's make it easier. Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo?
PlayStation, and
I'm not going to discount you for that one, but that's all right. All right, we're gonna
Okay.
have some PlayStation people.
all right, so here
We're
we go.
open to everything.
Hold on. We
Yeah.
got Xbox,
Yes.
Halo, yes,
Yes.
and then we have PlayStation. I had PlayStation Saturn. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
PlayStation
Oh no,
Saturn.
no. So Sega Saturn.
Oh, Sega Saturn.
Sega Saturn. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even have Sega in
Cut
there.
that right out of
Yeah.
there.
No, that's no, that's good. Sega Saturn.
Sega Saturn.
Yeah,
Lethal
the-
Enforcers, which
Okay.
was when they had the big Magnum gun that you could shoot. That
Yes.
was after Nintendo had its own gun.
Yes.
So yeah, and then PlayStation. I guess it would be Call of Duty and Gears of War.
Yeah.
Very violent stuff.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm with you
I
though.
don't know why, but yeah.
Gears of War was amazing.
Yeah.
Like that was a good series. Nintendo, I was all about Contra. Do you remember Contra?
No. What did it do?
So I mean, it's also a shooter, but it's 2-player, and it's all linear. So it's just like Mario, how you go sideways across the screen,
Okay.
but you have machine guns, and you just you're running, jumping, flipping, and shooting mechanized things. You'll have to come in and play. I'm bringing in an original NES. It's 1987. I have it. It's never been open.
Wow.
And we are going to open it and play it on
You
this
did
TV.
mention Mario Kart, and I have to say,
Yeah,
with friends, that's my favorite game.
absolutely.
Mario Kart.
Yeah. There's so much smack talk around Mario Kart.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, we are going to be playing, and we're not going to play the easy stuff. We're going to play like Rainbow Road backwards.
What?
Like-
They do that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're going to have a great time. It's going to be awesome.
Jeez.
So,
It's gonna be frustrating.
yes. iPhone or Android?
iPhone, I don't know, it might be for life.
Gotcha. So then Mac or PC?
PC, probably
PC,
for
okay.
life. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. That's good. That's good. Great answers, by the way. We relate when we know more about each other.
Hmm.
When you said Legos, boom, everything started clicking in my head. Now, you had already said Ninja Turtles. There was connection there, right? But when you say Legos, it's that's my favorite toy.
Yeah.
So
Did you ever play or have the train set?
always wanted the train set.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still have the train set. I don't know if it works, but I still have the train set with the train and the tracks, and it's electric and it.
So that's worth thousands of dollars on eBay.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
The original train sets are extremely expensive. And the yellow castle, when they switched to gray, I learned this last night. So the Lego castles they did in yellow because the creators of Lego never wanted kids to build tanks and think of war. And now, I mean,
Interesting.
there's Lego Halo, robots, tanks, everything, you name it.
So why was yellow significant?
Yellow was a neutral color.
Okay,
It was
that's
very
why.
passive color.
Okay.
So they stayed away from gray. They didn't even add a green because they didn't want people to make army tanks. They didn't add green until way later. It was actually the inventor's his son that added green, but it was his grandson that begged the dad, please add green. He goes, I need this block.
I heard a rumor that there was the owners of Legos have a house out in Ocala. You ever hear about that?
It's very possible. I haven't heard that particular one.
Yeah.
There's 11 billionaires that live right here in
Wow,
Ocala.
so you got that stat.
Over
11.
200 in the world, and 11 of them chose Ocala, Florida.
That's saying something.
That's a pretty big deal. That's why it floors me. I'm very thankful to be born here.
Yeah.
But I'm even more intrigued at people who choose to live here from other places because we're not the big flashy lights. There's not like some big tech scene and everything's just crazy. It's just down home, good place to live.
Yeah.
You know, we finally got a Chipotle. That's cool. But
Yeah.
it's not like your newest restaurant place.
Right. Right.
But we're finally growing in the right directions.
Agreed.
So I'm excited for where that future is headed. So let's talk a little bit about Reboot, okay? Because most of our underdog story is built over what made us who we are today. These stories that we've shared, but we all do something, right? We do some. We're business owners. But tell me about Reboot Self Care Center.
So we launched, I kind of rebranded. So I went to Reboot Self Care Center a year ago when my mentor, Dr. Thomas Bijay, moved out here from Australia so that we could joint venture in the business together. Because when I started originally, I had a very small version in like one room. And I took a version of what he's been doing in Australia and started to move with that. And we met not too long after that, originally, you and I. And that's where I was able to move downtown and expand into like a 3-room office downtown.
Mm-hmm.
And so organically, that's been growing to the point where I could afford to bring Doc over and expand into something that's like a full model where it makes sense for him to joint venture in with us. So now this Reboot Self-Care, having 3,600 square feet allows us to have everything we needed to have to offer like a full service to our clients, which the idea is to show what's going on in your body, which we have some really cool technology that does that. It's like a nice picture of what's going on, very visual. And then based on that, we teach you what's going on in your body, and then here's what you can do about it. What's going on, why, and here's what you can do about it. So everything that we offer is to stimulate the body naturally to do its own job. And that's what Reboot's all about, is if you can imagine hitting the reboot button on your computer,
Yeah.
it's just to reset your system so that your brain and your body can start doing what it's supposed to do on its own.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, it's not just for athletes.
No, it's actually primarily for the general person.
Gotcha.
That's the goal.
Do you find that are people coming to you with ailments? Are they coming to you with pre-existing injuries, with pre-existing, just stuff going on in their body? Or do you find people finding, like, what's that look like?
So unfortunately, it's already with ailments or injuries, or they can't find any answers, right? They go and they get their blood work done. They see their own practitioner they've seen for, 20 plus years. Everything looks great in the blood work, but they feel tired and they don't have the motivation, the energy, and they have pain. So that's usually when we get them because they're looking for something else. What I'd much rather have is like going to an auto mechanic, get your car tuned before it breaks down. That would be the ultimate, is to have individuals there to prevent issues. But for the most part, it's somebody that's looking for a different answer or an answer in general to why they feel the way they do.
That's good. And I love that it needs to be preventative.
Yes.
Don't wait till it's too late.
We do it with all kinds of other things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like a car, the air conditioner, you get it maintenanced every year. Like there's all these things that we do on a daily basis. We don't even realize it's to keep things running, except our body.
Yeah. It's like the last thing we think of.
Yeah.
But things like cars and computers and whatnot have warning buttons. They have warning lights. They have errors. Like what are some things that we need to be listening and looking for in our own body that would say, you know what, maybe I just need to go talk with Fabien?
That's an awesome question. So symptoms, any symptom. For example, you eat a meal consistently and you get gassy or you bloaty or you feel full. That's a great symptom of the body. It's your body telling you and your brain like, hey, like we're not digesting this well. Let's do something about it. And it could be as simple as you have a headache. A headache is a response from the body saying, "Hey, something's wrong. Like we need help." A pain in your right side or your left side or your arm, left arm, right arm. It all means something, and unfortunately, only in Eastern and Ayurvedic medicine, which are different medicines around the world, Ayurvedic is Eastern medicine.
Mm-hmm.
They utilize those symptoms as tools. So when you come in and you say, "Hey, I'm gassy and I'm bloated whenever I eat," we already know what the problem is, so we can start working on that. And so if you notice symptoms on a daily basis, you wake up foggy and tired, that's not normal. Then that's the kind of thing you want to come in. We do a scan and we show you why. We
Wow.
can literally show you, is it your stomach, small intestine, or large intestine that's causing your gas and bloating when you eat a meal? And once we know which one of those it is, we can explain to you why and then what you can do for it at home, while we can boost that process at our facility to make it a faster thing,
Wow.
faster recovery.
I didn't even know that that was doable. I didn't know that was an option or a thing, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that you're helping people through that is even better. So
It's very, there's definitely a satisfaction to it. When I do a scan, it's like a puzzle. And when we do a hair scan and we do a heart rate variable scan, they are tools that are giving us puzzle pieces. So what's really cool is when somebody comes in with issues and I can show them in the puzzle why. It's really satisfying. It's like you just finished a puzzle when you're actually making one, you know?
wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. And so that's what drives me, is to be able to do that.
So I will say, because I know you have client confidentiality, you have things that you have to keep. So I'm gonna say my experience. Very early on, when you moved over to the other location, I was able to get a hair follicle scan, and then you went over an entire report with deficiencies in my body and things that I was dealing with. I gave you a list of everything that you just listed practically.
Exhausting, yeah.
But I went through the list and then used the supplement,
Mm-hmm.
and then that was made for me, and then it was my own doing that stopped you. It's like I felt better, but then I stopped what was making me feel better. So I hope that people can realize that I've learned just in what you just said about your body's reacting and how to listen for those warning lights. I hope that others and myself will be able to learn that there's things that we can be doing preventatively like this, that they don't cost an arm and a leg. I mean, we spend a whole lot of money on a whole lot less.
Really, it comes down to education, right?
Yeah.
One thing we've been trying to push, but just not having a lot of success getting it out there to bring people in, is we've been doing these seminars once a month that are free, and you can come in and learn directly from Dr. BJ about any subject you want to learn. And it's amazing the things that he talks about and how you can just deal with them yourself, like kidney issues and liver issues, blood pressure, or just this fatigue or autoimmune. And he gives you these answers that are like very easy to understand, because he knows how to break that down over these years to something that you and I will understand no problem.
Yeah.
But we need to get that in front of people so that more people learn. Because if they learn, then you can start helping yourself. And I'm not worried about somebody getting better and then not coming back. Because once you get better, you're going to want to keep that. And that's our goal, is to have clients just on maintenance memberships once a week or every 2 weeks coming in, do your little protocol, and then you're good. Just like you get a pedicure, which I'm sure you do. Pedicure.
Oh, pedicures
facial.
are great. Yeah, why not?
Just the maintenance. You
Yeah.
know?
I got a facial over at Crystal Cryo tomorrow.
Ooh,
so
nice.
yeah. You gotta take care of your body, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm gonna make sure that we put the links to that in your description, and make sure that we have the right info to get people to these educational moments. number one, and then also to be able to, can people come take a tour of your
Definitely.
office?
Anytime. Anytime, if I'm not available, our office manager or one of our techs can just walk you through so you can see all the rooms. We have some really cool stuff there, like the hyperbaric chambers, the far and near infrared therapy, the exercise with oxygen, which is for the athletes and just general population. But I want to mention this. The most popular thing we have, which I was surprised about, is colon hydrotherapy. So it's not
Colon hydrotherapy.
hydrotherapy.
Okay, I know what two of those words mean.
Now, if you put them together,
Yeah.
what it means is a speculum, which is like a tube
Okay.
that goes up the rear end,
Yep.
and like an enema, but a high-end enema. So like there's actual FDA compliant equipment that's being used, and you have a
Gotcha.
registered nurse that's trained in colon hydrotherapy. But what it's doing is it's like, imagine a protein shaker cup
Mhm.
that you left in the car for 4 days.
Yes.
Have we done this?
I've done that.
It's sick.
It's bad.
So then when you
It's
pop the
real bad.
lid and the gas comes out and it stinks, and you're like,
Yeah.
you just throw it away because you're like, forget it.
Of course.
So imagine like your colon, which is your trash can. Maybe you had some rough patches you went through with digestion, dehydration. So that waste that should have broken down perfectly and was hydrated, that didn't get pushed out, is just kind of sitting on the wall and hardening like a clay. And what that does is it's rotting waste. So it is waste. It starts to continue to rot and create bacteria and mold and things like that in the body, and gas. So that over years and years can cause a lot of issues. So colon hydrotherapy is just having water go up, getting rid of yeast colonies, old waste by softening the walls, the hard walls, and then having it break away and come out. And it sounds gross, but if you want, you can actually watch what's coming out.
Gotcha.
And the techs keep track of what's coming out so that we know, is it old stuff, new stuff? Is it gallstones, which I've seen? I mean, we've seen hundreds of those come out in
Wow.
somebody before. And it's a way to clean your trash can out
Yeah.
so that you have a new trash can to fill up.
Yeah.
And it's grown like crazy. Like, it's our most popular room. Guys, girls, it doesn't matter. Like, I thought it would be a hard sell,
Yeah.
but once...
Well, people are afraid. You know,
Of
they
course,
have their
yeah.
natural fears or whatever, but the value in what you're getting and what it's going to do for your body and how it's going to help you outweighs the negatives. I think that's why I say, if people can come take a tour, they can come just see
Yeah.
what you do. Obviously, they're not going to sit in on somebody's session.
Only if it's yours, but
Yeah, you can only watch your own. But I love the idea that you're opening your space up, because so many doctors' offices are just closed. They just stay to themselves.
Yeah.
This is not your doctor's office. This is a I love it. It's a self-care center.
Yeah.
I
What
love
we
it.
want to be is we want to be a supporter of the doctor's offices.
Very cool.
That's the goal.
Well, we have had an amazing time. I've learned so much from you, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for Reboot, for you, and thanks for sharing so much about you.
Yeah.
I've learned so much.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fun going through this kind of a platform
Yeah,
and just talking. I think it's awesome the way you're learning about the people behind the businesses.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, putting the human back in business is what we do. It's our underdog story.
Tagline.
Exactly. So, Fabien, thank you for coming on. I want to encourage you, if you're out there watching, to just share this story, because the better we get to know each other, we realize that at the end of the day, love wins. Period.